Hello, everybody. It's Laura Eisenhower. I am so thrilled to be with these two amazing women. And my gosh, I'm sure everybody can just like feel the vibe already. And many are already familiar with both of them. I'm here with Jen Mccarty and Elena Danon. And just fabulously spiritually powerful beings both of these women are. And we have so much to talk about today. We're really going to just drop into the heart and like really tap into the transformational energies that are going on, especially with the Venus-Pluto conjunction and the big full moon we had yesterday. But yeah, just to tell you a little bit about them. Well, first I want to thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you. Yeah, so Jen, she's been putting on all sorts of events. She's talked a lot about the event is happening. She runs some big platforms on social media and does a lot of amazing guided meditations. She just finished her first book about twin flames in the event, and that's just amazing. And she just really holds community together, and she's just a powerful activator, beautiful musician, and so much more I could say. And Elena Danon, man, she's an author, an archaeologist, my gosh, an experiencer, a contactee, just an absolutely brilliant, beautiful soul that has been communicating with Thorhan from the Pleiadian.
Yes.
And also has made contact with Balthor and wrote a book about her experiences as a child where she was abducted by Greys and rescued by this fleet that she still stays in communication with. So I just kind of want to go around, and if there's anything else you want to add about yourselves that I didn't share, please go for it.
No, you said it all. Yes, no, you said it all. I am also a druid and shaman as well by my bloodline, heritage, earth bloodline. And well, it's a kind of a mix. Yeah, so nothing else really about me.
Well, it's such a great synergy. I mean, here you guys are like, Jen's in the UK, you're in Ireland, and there's so much about like these lineages, the Magdalene flame, the Tuatha De Danon, and the goddess Danu, and and just something about the synergy of energies. And I was born in England, spent a lot of time there, and actually where you are now, Jen, I used to travel to a lot. So I know exactly where you're located. And so it's very amazing to be in your energy fields, because it really brings me back to center. And when I was tapping into doing this with you guys yesterday, I was just getting like so like just, I don't know, it just really activating, just even tapping into it. So we're in a very, very powerful time with the Venus energies. I think people are feeling a lot of heartbreak, confusion. They're obviously using fear tactics in order to keep us from this transformation cycle and getting to the other side of it. And right now, we're dealing with like mass scale, I don't know if I should be careful with the words that I choose, because the censorship is like nuts, but the vaccine thing, and
Maxine.
yeah. All right. You're right, Maxine. So there's just a lot of fear, anxiety, and survival energy in the collective fields. And I just want to kind of speak to that to bring in some like heart energy and reassurance to people. And yeah, kind of like, what are your latest downloads in the here and now in regards to also, the tactics of the deep state that are trying to stunt our growth? And whoever wants to kind of jump in.
Elena, do you want to start first? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think it's very necessary that people are being aware that any action generated by fear is wrong, is not reasonable, is not led by reason, and the fear is control. The way the deep state is trying to enslave us, and does that since really long time through different ways, it's by fear, putting us in a situation of stress, fear, and that's the best way to control. They scare us, they remove knowledge, they bring ignorance, they add fear, and then they give a solution, their solution. And that's
Yes.
total control. And we must stop giving our power to fear, and just anytime we fear and we are about to do something because we are scared of something else, we go, oh, wait a minute, center, breathe, center, ground, go inside of yourself and look, be the observer, and you'll see clearer. Once you don't respond to fear, you step into your own power. And I think, and more clarity of mind. That's, I think that's something that's important to say. What do you think, Jen?
Definitely. Yeah, I totally resonate with you. And I think this would be quite a good moment for me to share my download. Would it be, Laura, a good moment? I think it would.
Yes.
So it was just before, oh, I've forgotten the dates. I think it was just before the inauguration or the competition, as Magenta says. And so it hadn't landed. Clarity hadn't landed for me. And so basically, one day I was just in my meditation room and I hadn't been on social media for a really long time, and then all of a sudden my higher self showed me this vision, and it was like a cartoon. It was so animated and so powerful and so strong, and this is what they showed: this bifurcation of a timeline. And because at this point I was attached to Mr. T getting inaugurated on the 20th, I had a little bit of an emotional attachment that was what was going to happen, and that didn't sit right with me, and I think this is why it came. So anyway, I saw this one timeline, and then I just saw it split. And then suddenly there was like a grey timeline, and then there was a golden timeline. And then they started telling me about the grey timeline. They said, on this timeline, there is a strong possibility that Mr. Chiden, I called him Chiden, will get inaugurated on that timeline. They said, but there will be no military support for it, and there will be no support of the public. So therefore, it is going to be it's like a fake marriage. It's like, it looks like it's real on the surface, but actually there's no legality to it. This is what they were showing me. It won't stand up. And then they were showing me this other timeline, and it was this golden timeline, and they kept saying Trump Sarah. And basically they said Mr. T doesn't want to have anything to do with that old timeline, and that is representative of the White House. Basically, they were like showing me he doesn't want to win the inauguration on the 20th. And then they started showing me that a new system is forming. And because I didn't really understand too much about the whole Republic thing at that time, they were kind of showing me in the form of like a sovereignty, that there's going to be a sovereignty, a return to sovereignty. And they kind of like were showing me him in a very, very exalted leadership position. And they were just clearly saying that he doesn't want to have anything to do with that toxic timeline, that swamp timeline that represents DC and all of the swamp creatures in DC. So basically, when I had that vision, it was such a sort of like a gut knowing, like a true gut knowing that was what was going on. I suddenly had enormous clarity about the agenda that lies ahead of us. So I wasn't as surprised at all with what happened on the 20th. I did think there was going to be, maybe we were going to get the broadcast. Yeah, I thought that maybe, but generally speaking, I just knew it was an absolute farce. So, and then my team went on to show me that Mr. Chiden, who's the one in the White House at the moment, they were showing me that he's just totally a puppet. He's a complete puppet. And they told me that the White Hats are pulling his strings. That's what they said. So now that actually correlates to what's going on at the moment, because there's so much that is going on. Like, he's doing such an expose now, isn't it? It must be like, my vision must be right, because there's no way that he signed 37 executive orders in like the first week. Like, everything that he's doing is a red flag to all those people that voted Democrat, isn't it? It's a red flag, and I really believe that it has been designed to awaken the sleepers. Like Mr. T said, you can't, or number 17 said, it's like we can't tell them, we have to show them. So I think that they're getting to see. So personally, I don't have any fear about what's playing out, because I feel that that we're going to see a big breakthrough come March, April with regards to this new position. But I do think it's dependent on the collective mass. I think that this new position that Mr. T is going to take is somewhat dependent on the consciousness of humanity. And they might have to stretch it out a little bit if too many people are clinging to their asleepness. But if we can somehow reach critical mass of awakened souls, come, I think it's March the 4th, we may see a brand new leadership paradigm coming into our reality. What do you reckon, Laura?
Oh yeah, I totally feel that too. I mean, it's like everything that needs to rise and thrive is just going to expand and grow, and it's going to starve this parasitic system. It's literally, you know, the bifurcation of we can't mingle together anymore. You know, so sometimes it feels like a blessing in disguise to be deplatformed, and then it's good to get the platforms back, of course, because you know that's where we've built numbers and community. But it's like it's very, very difficult to coexist in the same frequency. There's so much driven by hatred. There's so much projecting, and it's just like, you know, time to move on. And then I kind of feel that there'll be people sort of in the middle. They're heart-based, they're just confused, they haven't maybe been red pilled, but they have high integrity, they're very, you know, loving and good souls, and they'll make their way and become a part of, you know, that bifurcated, you know, golden timeline, the organic ascension timeline that we've all been talking about for so long. And then yeah, those that just like really are assimilated into that AI and are literally on a brainwave level or mind computer level, like hooked into the Matrix program, it would be further assimilated into it. And so the vaccines are going to make that easier for them to do that with those types. But those that I feel are heart-based, even if they make the mistake out of fear or just not doing enough research of taking that shot, that they'll go through a healing process and a transformational process to help them to eradicate the energy signature of anything harmful connected to that. But that's a whole other thing. I just wanted to share real quick on the share screen, and I share this a lot in my presentations, but I just want to remind everybody, especially with the Venus-Pluto conjunction. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Venus, the planet, has been forming a perfect pentagram in the sky for thousands of years, and it's been creating corrections. And so the download I got recently, sorry that all the other stuff on my computer is showing up. Oh, hey everybody, look at my computer stuff. Turning it upright, the goddess path, our divine feminine inheritance, that heart energy, and it's within men as well. This is a slide that I created a long time ago, but and this is a picture that you can find on the internet. Astronomers and astrologers have noted that the path of Venus forms a perfect pentagram, and also the sacred geometry of a rose. And so over the course of all these thousands of years, with the Venus alignment with Earth over, you know, an 8-year, you know, period, and the way that the synodic cycles and the way it all kind of like moves around, even with the retrogrades, it is literally creating the correction. So on a cosmic and earthly level, Venus, which has been working really close to the Earth, has been creating a correction of this sort of false light, Luciferian, dark satanic, Baphomet, dark mother reversal coding. And that's very much what the vaccination is connected to when we think of Mark of the Beast. So I feel that the energy signature of that mark is nullified through the power of alchemy connected to the Divine Mother, representative visually with what Venus is doing, as proof that the Divine Mother in the heart of the mother is creating corrections. And it's coming through all of us, right? You know, grid workers, planetary grid workers, starseed missions, and all of us, you know, carrying a different part of that greater picture, are bringing those sacred geometries into the planetary fields and correcting the reversals, which allows the circulation of energy with the ether in order to complete the transformation cycle. So I really feel like the dark ones, the dark players, didn't think the mother energy, or because they can't conceive of this level of unconditional love. But to me, the planetary consciousness is this level of unconditional love that's proven by the fact that Venus, the heart of the mother, is creating these corrections. So that's my
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Elena?
Yeah, well, I totally agree. It's absolutely beautiful, and it resonates a lot with me too. That's something I wanted to add to what you said, Jen. You spoke about Mars and April. I do a lot of personal readings for people, and since maybe just before the winter solstice, when we switched timeline, I start to see in every single person that in March something is happening good in their life. Everyone that I'm doing, and I'm doing reading every day for people every day, and everyone is going in March is going to have better financial situation, find a work, go out, party, and something happens that society is liberated, and there's no more lockdown. The financial situation, economic situation gets suddenly different, that people are not scared anymore to employ other people, to invest. And I don't know more. I don't know what's happening in March, but that's happening for everyone. I mean, that's quite mind-blowing, and though that gives me such a hope.
Me too, Elena. That's incredible. I'm so happy you said that.
Yeah, what are your thoughts? It's like spring,
I know.
it's like a blossoming.
Yes, and we are end of January, and you must know that, as you have a connection with England and the Celtic heritage as well. It's Imbolc. Imbolc is spring. It's on the 1st of February, and it is the renewal of life. It's the birth in the belly. Imbolc means in the belly. It's the fire in the belly of the mother. It's the fire that comes out of the water, that is ignited from the water. And this is the moment where hope really takes substance, where the project, the dreams really are birth. And I think, it's the earth. It's about all this shift, all these changes, about the earth. So of course it follows the cycles of nature. Of course it follows the cycles of the seasons. That makes so much sense. So it's spring. So
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to just share with everyone that I will be hosting an Imbolc ceremony on the 2-2 portal, and we will be working with the energy of Bridget, and she is the goddess of Imbolc, and she is the goddess of the sacred Isle of Britain, and I think also Ireland as well.
Ireland, yes.
Yeah.
She's,
and what I learned about Bridget is that it's to do with bridge, bridie, and this is connected to Magdalene. When Magdalene traveled from the south of France over to England, she created a bridge, and this has got something to do. So Bridie and Magdalene are the same goddess. I believe that Bridie is the maiden aspect of the Magdalene. So we're going to be working with the energies of Bridget, and I've lived in Glastonbury for 20 years, and Glastonbury has, it's the biggest spiritual festival of the year, Imbolc, and we have people from all around the world coming to do this big pilgrimage to Bridie's Mound in Glastonbury. And it's a really, really big deal. So this will be the first year in 20 years that I'm not in Glastonbury. So it is my intention to really, really bring those Avalonial energies into the ceremony, and to really, really work deeply with Bridget. And so we're going to be working with activating the age regeneration codes that are stored within our DNA, and understanding that this aging program, this is an archonic program that was instilled and enforced upon, God's beautiful children, probably around the time of Atlantis, when our DNA was scrambled. But it's very, very important now that we have to restructure restructure our DNA. We have to like put it back into its diamond formation. And when we do that, we then start activating all of our spiritual gifts from the time of Lemuria, from the time of Atlantis. And so this is very, very much connected to longevity and the fact that we are divine beings and we are Mother, Father, God's offspring. And so therefore, as sacred beings, it is up to us when we depart and leave this planet or any planetary existence. So it's about restoring our dignity back to us as children of God, basically. So that's going to be a lot of the energies that we're working with on the 2-2, and we're going to be doing a huge twin flame blessing as well for everyone. And I'm going to be working with these timelines of the pre-Atlantis fall. So working with Lemuria when it was very much in its crystalline form, Atlantis, and then we're going to be working with Gaia, and Gaia is 5D Earth. So it's going to be like this timeline convergence whereby we're going to be converging Lemuria, Atlantis and Gaia, and really like solidifying that new timeline. And we're going to be doing it through the portal of the twin flames and activating the grid through the sacred union of the twin flames. So that's a really, I just felt it was a perfect segue for me to share about the transmission. Because the thing is, guys, it's like the darkness organizes, you know, they really organize for their terror towards humanity. So we need to organize, we need to come together as light beings, and actually, because that's the thing that they're most afraid of. They're most afraid of us converging, of us coming together and unifying our intentions. This is the cabal's worst nightmare. And so therefore, this is why I do these global meditations as an invitation for us to just, this is like spiritual ammunition of the highest order, which we then just like pump out, and it neutralizes so much of their distortions and stuff like that. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. Have you got anything to say, Laura?
Oh, it's just amazing. I'm especially just the ley lines in that area, the dark technologies that created so many distortions and reversals that we've been healing and correcting. It's just, as you were talking, I was just like really feeling how just the power of all that just streaming into that particular region, which is very much the hierogamic union, sacred union area, and the Albion body and the Cathar body ley lines got unplugged, and a lot of different harvesting and siphoning technologies were put in these particular locations around the British Isles, and just a lot of darkness, as we know, with like stuff that goes on in underground bases and things that we've talked about. Elena, that Thorhan and his team have had to face, as far as trying to do things that we can't do on a level that's known by the public. You're not going to see in the news about the crews that are going into the underground bases to try and save the children. So this spring to me is like the innocence of the children being rescued and coming to the surface and coming up, and just the divine innocence within all of our hearts being illuminated, and this purification process is happening right now as we prepare for this, and that this will be something that we rise out of this sort of ashes of this dark last cycle, not just last year, but we could go into many dark cycles, but this one is a really, really big one. So I feel like what's emerging is going to stand the test of time. It's going to be something that everybody can recognize and connect into, and it'll be so inspiring and illuminating that I feel like it'll wake up the sleepiest of people, because it can't be doubted or questioned. It's like, and I feel it so much in your guys' energy field, and it's sort of like the beams of like the love of the mother being more available than it's ever been, and the Christ consciousness and that whole divine template. And that's what's so brilliant about your book coming out, in the timing that it did, Jen, about twin flames, because that is all about how we rebuild our DNA. It's the masculine and feminine, and the union and the unscrambling of the fire codes through the alchemical marriage, sacred union, hierogamic union. And so the particular area that you guys live are those energy centers and ley lines to do the repair work on a planetary level. And so I just feel like, us, our own inner child, also people recognizing that we have a responsibility, we have a mission, and this is what it's all about. Some people get lost in the politics or it's right or left. No. This is about rescuing the children. This is about human sovereignty. This is about connecting to the planetary consciousness and building the team of light, building the unification of the global family in order to rescue, the innocents. So that's what I'm feeling. And unfortunately, this last year has created so much polarization that people who even mention the T guy or even talk about patriots are being dumped into a category of like domestic terrorists or this or that. And this is why I love talking to both of you. And I know, Elena, you don't go into the T as much as Jen and I and Magenta have talked about before. So, you can just say what you want to about that or not at all. But my final point here is that people have to understand the larger picture spiritual component that's connected with it. It's so beyond politics that people can't even begin to wrap their head around it. They keep making it about, something that is so much lesser, and it's so superficial, and it's so insulting to what it truly represents. And so, yeah, definitely people need to experience the B guy, in office to see the contrast and to maybe like really truly reflect on their own judgments, their own brainwashing, and and the distortions they allowed themselves to attach themselves to. And it's not about him being a savior, making him the perfect guy, but it's about us all representing ourselves as he is representing himself as a sovereign being that refuses to play the games of the dark ball and refuses to play around with these swamp creatures anymore. So any thoughts about that, you guys?
Elena?
Yeah, well, what I can say about it is the feedback I have from what I call upstairs my my ET protectors and friends. If we wait to be saved and that the hero comes and we won't have learned anything. What's happening is, after what I'm shown, is that I've been told, well, okay, 2 years ago, my ET protectors came back to me and said, in 2 years' time, there will be, in November 2020, there will be something that will happen for Earth. And they were very excited, and yes, we're back because something's going to happen for Earth. It's going to be amazing. And what's going to happen? Then he said, well, I would be you. I would go out, I would see my friend, I would go to the pub, listen to some music, I would travel, because in 2 years' time exactly, you won't be able to do that temporarily. You won't like that. I went, what's going to happen in 2 years' time? So November 2020. And I said, will that be related to the American elections, November 2020? Like this. And I say, so who's going to win? And he said, Trump will be re-elected by the people. And okay. Then last December, I asked him, remember what you told me 2 years ago? Doesn't really look it's going to happen. He said, I didn't lie to you. Trump has been re-elected by the people. The blue man cheated. Okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I said, but what's going to happen now? And he said, trust the plan. Do not worry. People, he said that sentence to me, people need to see the face of the enemy and who are his allies.
Ooh.
Yes, he said that to me, and he said, trust. And every time we have this discussion, he says the same thing. And last night, I was saying that to Laura earlier on. Last night, Thoran said to me, we wouldn't be here if there wasn't any hope.
Exactly. None of us would have returned back to this planet if it was going to be taken over.
Nobody has signed happily to come and die in suffering in a totalitarian world. We haven't. That's not why we all, let's go there. No.
We could be living it up on the Pleiades. But we wouldn't be. We're all such hard workers. We'd be like sorting out some other planetary system somewhere, wouldn't we?
Oh yeah. Somebody said one time that this is one of the darkest and densest of places, but of course we know it's a divine planetary body. It's a multidimensional mother goddess energy. It's beyond 3D, but what we're experiencing and the invasion that has happened and the level of infiltration that has happened is about as dark as it gets. But they're like, there's a few other dark places, but you're not allowed to know their name because you'd be heading over there trying to help. Like you might want to break out this one. It was just kind of funny.
No.
Yeah, it's like this is what we do. I mean,
this is what we do.
Yeah, this is what we do. It's so easy to fall into the humanness of it all, and so sometimes my emotions just overwhelm me. Feeling other people's confusion and pain, knowing that this is just part of the journey for them, and everybody's got. We're here for soul and spiritual development, and these are like metaphors and traumas to produce something, and that something is what we can look forward to. If we think the pain is the destination, then we lose hope and we want to disassociate. But it's pushing us into something unbelievable. And that's how diamonds are formed. And that's why it's Diamond Sun DNA. We're reclaiming our Diamond Sun DNA. So
absolutely. And I got really triggered when you were talking, not triggered, I got really activated when you were talking, Laura, about how the mother arc energies is so overpowering that is what is, forming our DNA, and also the Heros Gamos energies. And I know that's so true for myself. Like I was just an asleep 3D person, do you know what I mean? But I basically had that experience of the inner alchemical marriage, the Heros Gamos. And it was through divine love that reorganized my scrambled DNA. And you speak about this, and it's so true. I've just written a little bit of a chapter about this in my book. But it's so clear that our DNA is like our map to our divinity. Do you know what I mean? And then that was what was scrambled. That was what was like interfered with. But we do have the power through our consciousness to restructure it and to recorrect it and reform it. And when you were talking, I was just seeing my own journey played out so clearly in your words. Like that is my direct experience. And so the question is, how can we sort of like guide our listeners to activate those codes whereby your DNA just starts, reforming itself back into that diamond pattern? I would say, firstly, it's really good to commit to a spiritual practice. I have a spiritual practice of resting as awareness for short moments. So I just stop thinking. That's my spiritual practice. Another practice is becoming addicted to gratitude, because when we become addicted to gratitude, we understand that we're all transmitters. We're individualized transmitters, and basically there is a force of creation that keeps all the stars in their place and turns the seed into the flower, and it's our job as transmitters to attune to that frequency. And so we do that by taking governance of our egoic consciousness through a spiritual practice. So that's just two things to get us going with regards to how do we start becoming one again with our higher self. And that is what the whole deal is about, really, on earth. And it occurred to me the other day, I keep getting like really full on downloads, but I was like, I got this, I sort of like had a moment in the mind of God, and I could see God's thinking. And God's like, right, I'm going to create this earth, and I'm going to create all these human beings, my beautiful children, and we're just going to have these shells, these egoic shells, and inside those egoic shells we're going to place that spark of divinity. And the whole reason why they've got these shells is to turn the seed of their divinity to become the fruit of their divinity, to become the actualized fruit of their divinity. But what's happened is, because of the cabal's agenda, everyone's just like gone mad, like glorifying the shell, glorifying the external. Oh look, oh don't I look lovely? Oh look at my hair extensions. Oh look at my nails. Da, da, da. And it's all become about the superficial, and they're completely and utterly. They've just done such a number on humanity. It's quite phenomenal. But the whole reason that this that this earth and these bodies were created was entirely for us to go through that metamorphic process from caterpillar to butterfly, and that means from asleep, duality consciousness, orientated towards duality consciousness, into butterfly consciousness, awakened consciousness, unity consciousness. And so the whole reason why we've got these vessels, but it's just so funny, everyone's like missed the memo. They're like, oh look, I've got, look at my Prada, look at my Gucci. You know what I mean?
I know, that's so funny. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's nuts. The waking up process, you know, and the priority of divinity and protecting and honoring what's sacred, and just the way the whole system inverts everything, and just is just really just creating, you know, a heaviness that has kind of groomed them to be prepared to just do what they're told and put that mask on and fear a virus, you know, at a time when we're, you know, supposed to be, you know, in that butterfly zone. And so, you know, what are your thoughts, Elena? Like, I mean, here we have just this unbelievable opportunity. We've been in this ascension window, and just as we're about to just, like, as a humanity, like really step into that awareness, it's like, whoa, this total sabotage. Do you see, like, people just ripping off their masks and having enough of it, or I mean, I guess it's a kind of a tough question, but yeah,
Yes,
just and also just to keep in the theme of what Jen so brilliantly expressed about rebuilding the DNA and unscrabbling the fire codes, and different techniques that you might suggest or use. But maybe starting though with your thoughts on the
many things. I've been given a vision as much as well as many people. Maybe you had it as well, that there's going to be a time soon where people are dancing in the street, hugging each other, cars, horn, klaxon, and like people dancing and shouting and hugging each other like it's over. We've been many to have had this vision in the same time, like in a span of 3 days, through dreams. It was really weird, all over the world. Yeah. I think what I like to explain my point of view of what's happening is I take always two pens, and we've been on a timeline, one timeline, since a long time, because we've been occupied and enslaved by dark beings. Suddenly there's the shifting point, the window that opens, and it will be closed. I've been told 2017 it opened, and it will be closed in 2022, to pick one. So it's like a diamond. So now we are just here. We are just here. We just switch in a good timeline, I'm told, in the good outcome for our evolution, the creative timeline, not the destructive one. That's enslavement by our ET occupants, and that's liberation and evolution and everything great. We took this one around the winter solstice, like suddenly, but that's a new paradigm. But there's the old paradigm, the old timeline, which going away. But at the starting point, you see that in your life when you change paradigm, the ancient paradigm is fighting it back. So we're here and very close to the old one. So there's still interaction, and the old one it doesn't want to leave. It's just fighting and putting all it has in the belly to the last chance, and it's all the dark is falling like but as we walk bravely on this one, keeping our hope, it is hope, and keeping our frequencies high, that will keep us on going there. And the most we will advance, that will go away, and the interaction will be larger and weaker, and one day, poof, it breaks. And here we are. That's how I see it. That's how I feel it. So we need to be brave and patient and stick to it, stick to keeping our vibration high. What does it mean? Good mood, no fear, peace inside, finding our inner peace, being separated from the storm by many meditation techniques, as we know, keep the storm outside. We are like a pillar in the storm, and we wait for the storm to pass, keeping our vibration high, loving each other, creating bonds of love with even our enemy, learning how to love by compassion our enemy. Imagining all the love in our glowing chest resonating by quantum resonance in the heart of your enemy, that this ignites, and suddenly your enemy is not aggressive anymore and starts to be filled with love in resonance. We need to learn that, because their tool is to divide us, to make us fight against each other. The real enemy is not our brothers and sisters, human. It's the occupant and the hand of elites, which are their puppets. So they don't want us to unite. Fear, wars, they manipulate the minorities against each other. That's so easy to manipulate the minorities. Oh my God. And I'm offended, and the gender confusion, and it's all on purpose. It's been built up. And now the thing is, now, because they didn't expect that we would awaken that fast and that exponentially, so they're panicking. They are the ones who fear us, because they know better than us what we are capable of. And
so true.
they are the one who the fear is on their side, because they know what we're worth better than we know. That's why. So they panic. So they are now pushing all their agendas in the last chance move. But by doing that, they reveal themselves. It becomes too weird, too obvious. And wait a minute, is that right? So they can't win. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Oh, totally. Beautiful. Yeah. So what kind of comes through about this kind of thing is paying attention in our everyday. You know, where are our thought forms going? What are we putting in our body? Who are we hanging around with? Are we maybe in the electronics too much? Are we grabbing at vices instead of doing something healing? And in that moment where we might do something that isn't healthy, can we adjust our thinking and move into a place of love and give to ourselves instead? Because I think a lot of people, they're sinking into depression, maybe addiction, and isolation, paranoia. And in those moments, it's like just breathing into it and just consciously and mindfully, changing the vibration, and what we make the choice to interact with to raise our vibration. It's like, and that's just, very much what was coming through with what you guys were sharing when I was listening, is just, in every moment we can stay in this union and integrate that union and do unbelievable things and co-create beautiful things, or we can be distracted in this kind of lower mentality, lower dark emotional energy, more connected to like this AI mimicking imitator that kind of keeps us in a negative feedback loop that drains us and siphons us. And so we're like, why am I so tired? Why am I, so it's like, that's the choice we constantly have, is like AI signals or organic ascension, unification, connection with, spirit. Sometimes people are like, well, how do I do it? Well, it's really, about our heart. It's about, grounding to the earth. I mean, it's really the restoration of the tree of life. So we want a root system. We want to be grounded, and we want to be receiving the light codes of the solar energy and know that that template exists within us. And if we're staying in that kind of relationship, it's similar to holding on to, a lover, a loved one, a relationship between child and mother, or a sacred union relationship, where it doesn't matter what's going on around you, that sacred space is held, it's protected, and it doesn't matter if this or that tries to invade it. The auric field is strong enough, the connection and devotion and alignment is strong enough. We just have to keep reinforcing it every day.
100%. And I think so much we can access so much happiness when we transcend the need for other people's approval, because it's such a hard thing to navigate life. Like, oh my God, did I upset that person? Did I upset that person? Oh no, she's not speaking to me. And somehow basing your stability upon probably a sleep third dimensional consciousness person. Do you know what I mean? And so I think it's so important for us to, to stay in that high vibration. We have to transcend the need for other people's approval. And the way that I've done that, it took me a really long time. That was one of the last things that I, that I really, really got. But what I realized was that my job is to be the best daughter that I can be to Mother, Father, God. Mother, Father, God is watching me 24/7, and I am completely committed to being the most devoted daughter that's ever walked the earth. Now I know God is watching me 24/7, and so therefore that is my commitment. So human beings, they don't know who I am. They don't understand that I've just got this like deep desire to be a good person, to impress Mother, Father, God, to make Mother, Father, God go, oh, look, that's my daughter. I'm so proud of her. That's what I want to do every minute of every day. I want to make God do a happy dance. So the thing is, I'm at peace with that. I'm at peace with the fact that human beings won't understand my actions sometimes, because I'm good with knowing that I'm good from my creator. And I wish if one person can take that on board and have a breakthrough, it would really, really make my day. Because the thing is, I used to get so anxious and so worried about like if someone was upset with me or pissed off with me. Now I couldn't give a flying shit. I mean, obviously I don't want to go around hurting anyone, and I don't, and I'm always accountable for anything that happens. But I just think it's so important, somehow make a commitment to transcending the need for other people's approval, and you will find so much happiness. Happiness sort of like becomes your best friend when you do that. And also another way to really, really raise your vibration is to be in service. Like, think about, like, I met this guy recently, and he was like he was quite suicidal, and he was like telling me, he's like, oh, I've been having a really hard time, and I don't want to be on the planet anymore, and I've been feeling like this for absolutely ages. And I said to him, have you done anything for anyone recently? And he was like, no. And I said, well, if you think about it, on this planet, there are 7.8 billion people that are suffering from PTSD, from being in the Matrix. Everybody deserves love. Everyone deserves, whenever we meet someone, we always they deserve kindness. So somehow I was able to show this brother that it was through his own self-obsession within his own kind of like vortex of suffering that was keeping him entrapped. But if he could just open up a little gap, just to look outside of himself and to just have a little bit of compassion for the fact that everyone is suffering, they might have a big smile on their face and everything might look hunky-dory, but the truth of the matter is everyone is suffering to some extent from being incarnated into the Matrix. And so it's such a wonderful way to lift your vibration, is to think about things that you can do for other people and actually go out of your way and serve your brothers and sisters, as we do.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So we sort of mentioned in the beginning, we wanted to, talk a little bit about maybe the concerns that people feel. I've been processing a lot of that myself, and it kind of goes back to the Venus picture that I showed of changing the energy signature of any kind of mark of the beast or any representation of, where symbolism or like distorted sacred geometries or different ways that they've created distortions in these divine templates that they're being restored in this transformation process. So for those of us out there who have friends or family that might have gotten the shot, that might be running the belief system that that's irreversible and you're basically going to be bound to hell, and your DNA is going to change forever, and there's nothing you can really do. Can you maybe speak to that? And because when we speak to things, it activates things, and it can take off the emotional charge, and maybe it'll lighten the load of what the collective is holding right now, in light of the fact that millions of people right now are getting the shot.
Well, if I may say something, I believe we are in a processus of grief at the moment. We're grieving an ancient world, an ancient paradigm which is dying, and if we haven't the perspective that we are going towards a newborn timeline, new paradigm, we can only remain in the loss, the grief, and the confusion, which is normal. That's the energies of the moment, as well as ascension shift. There is the grief that of the letting go, and if these some people do not believe or do not see that we are heading towards something that is new and just born and a bright future, they will see.
Oop, frozen.
I
You're not
think
frozen.
it's,
Oh, there you go. Okay, you were frozen for just a sec. You're okay now.
yeah, okay. Yes, can you hear me now? Yeah, so I was saying, yes, it's a processus of grief, and if you do not know that something new is coming, that's why this grief is here. If you don't believe in this bright new future, you're just here in this grief forever, in confusion, and you're feeling lost, you're feeling lonely, you're feeling cold. So I think it's up to those who believe, who know, to tell the others, you have to let go. This ancient world is not functioning anymore, and it will never come back. It's gone. So if the more you try to hold on to it, the more you're going to suffer and feel even more bad, and bad. It's going to drag you down with it. So open your heart and believe. That's what I would say.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. I'd like to speak about what you said, Laura. And I put a post up on Facebook the other day because I've joined this group called COVID vaccinations and side effects, and it's mainly about the Pfizer vaccine. And basically, quite a few people are having adverse reactions to the Pfizer, and I really felt for them, and then I put a post up saying, thank God the med beds will be here soon in order to recorrect the damage of the vaccines. And now I had a few people comment on that post. They were like, oh no, it's irreversible damage, it's DNA, blah blah blah, and this, that and the other. And loads of people are saying that even the med beds will not be able to reverse the damage. And I said to everyone, well, basically, it's a case of whatever you believe. If you believe the med beds will can heal you, they can. And if you believe they can't heal you, you can. And that is how consciousness works. And so I refuse to come into any sort of like timeline of limitation about anything. And we don't obviously need the med beds because our consciousness is all powerful. But as we're transitioning into this fifth dimensional, fully awakened culture, I believe that these ascension tools play a very, very important part with regards to helping us up level our spiritual gifts and bring online our spiritual gifts. So with regards to the med beds, I personally feel a very deep affinity with the med beds, and I feel like I'm even going to be part of the team that's part of bringing them to earth. I feel like I'm definitely part of the sort of ascension team, the Arcturian team that is working with them. But my truth is that they will be able to recorrect. If they can grow a limb, if they can grow a leg, if they can grow a heart, why on God's earth will they not be able to rearrange a DNA like mix up? There's absolutely not. And I can't believe that so many people on that thread, they were like, oh no, I don't think they could do everything else, but they can't do that. And I was like, no, that's not my truth. And I respect you. If that's your truth, I respect you. I'm not here to impose my unlimited wildness on anyone. I'll just stay in my lane. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, like let's all be really mindful of what we're putting out there, because certain spiritual teachers that we really love, they may also have these ideas, and I think everyone has to use their own discernment as opposed to just parroting what spiritual teachers have said. Why don't you check in with your own self and really see what you feel? So I personally feel that the med beds can't come too quickly, and I think that they are going to be here soon. And I'm reminded of Mr. T's comment that by June all hospitals will be obsolete, and he did say that. He did say that. So, you know. So I'm really holding out for that timeline, and combined with the fact that people are raising their spiritual vibration and not just relying on these external tools, I think they work hand in hand with our consciousness, and so it's really important that people still do the work. And it's like what Elena was saying about a savior. We don't want our spiritual tools to become our savior either, because the truth is, the matter is that we're all embodiments of God. Like, there's nothing more powerful, more high authority than us as individualized spirits. Do you know what I mean? So it's really important to always know that and not give our power away to anything external. But I personally feel that there's a really beautiful place for these ascension tools and ascension technology that's coming in, and I think they're going to really help clean up a lot of the mess from the Mac scene.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love what both of you have said, and just to kind of pull from both of what you shared, and kind of what's kind of coming through from that for me. You know, we're definitely letting go of the old paradigm for people. I mean, I always compare it to a breakup. It's like we're literally in relationship with everything that's around us at all times. So if there's a paradigm that's dying and they're holding on to us as much as they can to keep us from overriding their matrix, system.
Mm.
You know, we're kind of in that veil right now where there's a lot of the archonic astral parasites kind of like holding to people's fears, clinging to people's dark emotions, and fear of their own power, fear of their freedom, you know, to the point where they can be easily convinced that that's not the step you want to take. You know, listen to us. You don't even know us or our qualifications or what we do behind closed doors, but wear your mask, do what we say, social distance, and use numerology and all these different tactics to create these energy signatures that literally hold people and hijack, their energy field. So yes, consciousness can override that. So if there's a mark of the beast, that mark of the beast also has an energy signature to some of the teachers and light workers that say, oh, it's irreversible, because the energy of the beast is all about control and enslavement. So it's also going to put limitations on the people that are processing what that means. So we have to stay sovereign and not let any aspect of the beast energy, get the best of us, whether we're on the side of not being aware of it and having that shot, or getting that shot and then realizing, oh my gosh, what did I just do? Or telling people, oh, you can't heal from this, that's irreversible. That's a form of control. So to me, that's a part of the mark of the beast, is how it can seduce a person into a belief system that is based in enslavement, not sovereignty. And so to correct these energy signatures, we don't want to energize them and give them power. And that's why they're so successful. We both shared that meme on Facebook, about just the way the power of suggestion through the narratives, the false narratives that humans believe in and hold on to, that they basically are creating and enabling a timeline that they don't want at all. It's because they've been convinced of something that they don't need to be convinced of. So, I mean, we have the freedom to break any, kind of pattern, energy signature. And to me, God's source, there is the most powerful source energy, of course, and there's nothing it can't correct. And so I refuse to believe that if somebody takes that shot, oh, I guess they're a goner. Yeah, maybe their physical body won't make it, but I believe that our consciousness will never be owned by the satanic energies, because it's all based in reversals. And reversals, it's like if you coil up a swing, it can only remain, in a reversal if you hold it and you control it. But when you let it go, it naturally, corrects itself. Like nature is encoded with wanting to correct itself, create equilibrium, heal injury. It's encoded. We don't even have to give it thought. It takes a lot of control, though, to hold reversals in place. So we got to set the mind free. And people are hanging on to dear life because, like you said, Elena, it is like a breakup, and there's a mourning process to saying goodbye to the old paradigm, and then also realizing that the things one may have invested their life into might have been filled with lies. And so there's also what it does to the ego, and the identity crises can be almost too much for people to manage, maintaining their physical vessel going through these sort of shocks. You know, for some, it's too much for them to maintain the physical. I mean, this is like withdrawing from heroin. The human race, deprogramming from the matrix could create such a violent reaction that I think that's why it's so slowed down, because, you know, it's a shock to just all of a sudden drop the old paradigm. You know, it's like we've been addicted to the matrix for so long. You know what I mean?
So makes sense.
Yeah, so it's like a slow process. We got to wean ourselves off, and that's why we have to be very patient with people, and they're wearing their masks. To me, you know, the masks represent moving through that veil. Right now, it's more comfortable for people to just be like a little bit buffered, a little bit like in that, you know, kind of fear, as they gradually move towards greater self-confidence, greater, you know, awareness. And this is the thing with the shot, though. That could take them down a notch and sabotage their ability to take a huge leap right now. But I do believe absolutely that the spiritual tools and technologies will be there, but we want them to be like training wheels so that we can begin to switch on our true spiritual gifts and abilities. And just like you said, not make the spiritual tools our saviors, as we wouldn't want to do that with people.
Yeah, that's right.
So any thoughts? You know, we could just go around. I know I could talk to you guys like for days. Anything we haven't talked about that you want to share before we close?
Elena?
I would like to, if there was one thing to say, it's keep your vibration high and keep positive. And that's how you get out of it. Because it's the matrix, I mean, it's like a lead. I call it a mind tricks. It's a mind control. And people are just tumbling underneath. If you rise your vibration, you refuse fear, you go on it, you know, and you have the bigger picture. It's like, it's really totally mind control. Remove people from their environment. Don't allow them anymore to have a job, physical activity, social interaction. And all that is the scientifically proved process of mind control. So just refuse that and just rise a vibration. And I have such a good hope in what's coming, because I have feedbacks of, you know, extraterrestrial beings who are involved in helping us, sacrificing their life for us since quite a long time now. And if they have hope, we need to have hope as well, because there's a reason why they're fighting for us. And I'm very positive. So I would encourage everybody to calm down, refuse fear. I know it's confusing, but it always gets darker before dawn. Don't worry. It's gonna be fine.
Oh, I'd just like to add to that. That was so, everything you said is so beautiful, Elena. It's absolutely wonderful to meet you and be in your presence, sister. But I would say that the way to combat fear is to bring your awareness to the present moment. Find a spiritual practice to bring your awareness, to entrain yourself to be present in the moment, because whatever's happening in the moment you can deal with. Even if someone was knocking on your door wanting to whatever, you would be able to deal with it. You could grab something, you could do something, but you cannot deal with thoughts of the future and thoughts of the past. We can't process them. So what Elena said was so spot on. Like this is how we keep our vibration high, by taking a handle on our fear and understanding that it's always pulling us out of the present moment. And like, read my book, guys. It's got amazing spiritual practices in there that will just help you to become a spiritual master. But I just wanted to share with you guys, I had this dream, and I think this dream is connected to me meeting you, Elena. And basically it was about...
She's freezing.
me. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes,
we can hear you now. If you could repeat what you said. Sorry, your internet broke.
I'm so sorry. I just wanted to say that I wanted to share with you a dream that I had the other night, and I think it's connected to me meeting you, Elena. It was like a little bit of a sign from the universe that I was going to meet you. So basically what happened was, I don't really have cosmic dreams because I have very earthly dreams because I'm very cosmic, I think. But anyway, so it was an unusual dream, and in the dream I was outside and there was quite a lot of people, and the sky was pink because I live by the ocean and we get beautiful sunsets. And so it was like that really sort of like beautiful, like baby pink light. And then all of a sudden I looked up at the sky and I saw these lights, and they were really big lights and they were all close together. And I was looking at, and I was like, and I knew it wasn't a star. Obviously it wasn't stars. And then all of a sudden it was the Jerusalem mothership. Can you hear me, Elena?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I thought I'd frozen again. I saw the most exquisite ship I have ever seen in all my life, and it was just pure rainbow light. It was like a big, massive circular shape, and it had like almost like a temple sort of like top to it, and it had all this rainbow light, and it was the most beautiful, beautiful ship I've ever seen. And in the dream, I was like, I've waited my whole life for this moment. Is it really happening? And then all of a sudden I opened up my eyes and I woke up, and I was like, oh, and I woke up. But it's changed me. That dream has had such a deep effect on me in many, many ways. And I was tuning into, I was like, okay, right. Why did I see this ship? What is going on? And then it was explained to me that it's not a Pleiadian ship. It's not an Arcturian ship. It was the Galactic Federation of Light ship, and they're all on that ship. It's not just one star system. And they said to me that it's too big to land in Earth's atmosphere. It can't actually land on Earth. And so what it does is it stays hovered sort of like really, really low in our atmosphere, and then it sends out like little spaceships or whatever to come and to interact. So I don't know. And then when you sent me Elena's bio, and I read all about the ET contact, I was like, oh, this is not a coincidence. Do you know what I mean? So I personally feel like that dream was showing me for myself that I'm about to sort of like up level my life with my book and stuff. But I also feel that it's something about the collective, that energy is shifting. The energy is shifting. We're not alone. We're getting help now, and we're getting more help that's coming to us from our ET brothers and sisters. So yeah, I really, really wanted to share that with everyone because it was such an amazing dream, and it was so healing, like seeing those colors. I'm gonna like try to paint it. I'm not a very good painter, but I'm gonna do my best to try to recapture that image. So I'd love to hear anything that you've got to say, Elena, about that, and Laura, because I felt it was somehow related to you.
Well, what I sense it's that it was probably maybe your guides who are showing to you something very significant for a great change in your life. Personally, from the data I have and my experience, I know there is no ship called Jerusalem, and that's just an Earth invention, but there are orbital stations from the Galactic Federation on orbit of Earth, and they stay on orbit effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And they, of course, they send ship from there on Earth for different missions. So that's the knowledge I have from my side. I think you had an amazing message from your guides that probably speak about shifting in a new consciousness and a new level in your life that is going to enable so many things. The rainbow colors, it's all the possibilities that are going to, all the doors, each color is a door that are going to unfold. And something tells me that it's not only about you, it's about humanity as well.
Yeah, me too. It's about humanity as well, because I've got a big mouth.
So yeah, that would be what I think. It's a beautiful dream.
Thank you. That is so beautiful. Yeah, I mean, anybody else before we close want to share anything?
Did you pick up anything from that dream, Laura?
Oh, just amazing energy. I mean, I just feel like this is the true reality, the one that people question or don't believe. This is the real reality. The Matrix is a net. It captures the mind. It siphons our life force. It programs people. It creates subpersonalities. It keeps people very disconnected, in amnesia, and just really like a product of whatever they're getting through, the television or whatever they're, focused in on. That's the artificial, but they think it's reality. And when you lift that away, when the mind frees itself of it, the truer reality is, our galactic family, our connection with these different, light ships, motherships, higher technology, and all the images. I mean, when I was a kid, it was just like, just the thought of after the year 2000 wasn't like Jetsons. It was like, I always compare it to like the cover of a Yes album, or just like, hovering city, just something so imbalanced with nature, these crystalline cities and these elemental kingdoms rising and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, look at where we are in 2021. It's like everybody's masked. It's like, what is going on here? I just sit there in the car, in the parking lot some days. It's like, oh my gosh, take me to the medical marijuana dispensary right now. But anyway, yeah, so I mean, just to me, that's the true reality, and that it's very much a reflection of, the light within you. And just I don't know, I got some really cool visuals and just a lot of golden rainbows. Just there's so much to look forward to, people just, if they could just free their minds, and of course all your contact experiences. I haven't had any recently. My dream last night, that's probably why people are like, Laura seemed a little rough around the edges this morning or today. I just had like really, really screwy dreams last night about certain things going on in the world, and a very, very dark energy. I didn't get pulled into it. I was more the observer, but I woke up sort of a little bit alarmed by that. But no, sorry. I just got nothing but blasts of really, really powerful energy. And there's going to be these false disclosures, the use of negative technology, perhaps, and attempts at steering people into one world government, alien government kind of thing, but I feel like it's going to collapse real quick because this greater and richer world that exists beyond all of it, that has chosen to interact with this earth, chosen to be participants, brought so many starseed missions to this planet, and so many that are making contact and experiencing, their galactic family in the ways that you guys are describing. That once that theater collapses, once that control collapses, that's the real reality that exists, and nothing can stop it because it's organic. It can't be destroyed. Whereas anything artificial that plugs into the mind or the negative ego constructs has an expiration date. And so they rely on us as a food source to keep their life cycle alive, and they have to use technology in order to be able to do that. So that's seriously the awakening, is saying, I'm no longer going to participate. And once a person chooses to not participate, that's when the true disclosure and awakening happens. And people start to recognize that what they thought was maybe woo-woo, new age BS or whatever projection is actually the true reality. And the true reality is that we're in an unconditionally loving universe, and there's more benevolent beings than we can possibly imagine. And the negative ones really are catalysts for our remembrance. And this has just been a crazy experience of lost and found, and experiencing ego in order to learn the right use of power. And it's like we lose our treasures and we're rescuing our treasures, but you can't destroy the treasures,
Yeah, you can't destroy
So well
diamonds.
said.
Yeah.
So well said.
So well said, Laura. That was.
Oh, thank you. Well, just being in your company and everything that you guys are bringing through, and I just love you guys so much. It's just been so amazing. I had a really difficult morning. We talked a little bit before, going or turning the recording on, and I'm like, but there's no way I'm going to cancel. There's no way I'm going to say, oh, I'm just not up for it. And this is the thing, the world beyond celebrities and appearances. So it's just like, we're just being real, people.
It was just a bad morning, not a bad life.
Oh, no, right. Yeah, just a lot of emotions. It's really intense with the Venus Pluto. But any final thoughts, Elena? And
sorry.
No?
Can I just say to everyone just to not watch mainstream media? Like, I think the reason why so many people are wobbling at the moment is because they think, I'll just check out what the news cables are saying. And every time they do that, they go into a wobble because it's so convincing. The matrix, the optics are so convincing. They make it look so real. And it's even even difficult. Like, even if I happen to glance at it, I'm like, oh, I don't like that. Oh, I just suddenly felt that matrix, that reality matrix that they're trying to impose on me, because that is the agenda. They're really trying to create these optics that it's real. And so many people, I don't know, there's so many people that are wobbling at the moment about, you know, what's going on. So just don't watch the mainstream media. Like, give that, like, make that be a gift to yourself. Gift yourself that. You will never watch it again. I never ever watch it. I only will get a blast if I go into a dentist or somewhere like that, and they're like, do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I never either.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, yeah, it might just be playing in a place that and it's just,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. And it's all a simulation, and the simulation, you know, it targets the mind computer, and all the nanoparticles they're trying to put in our body to, you know, keep us locked into the AI, but we're so much more powerful than that.
Oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts,
Yes, we
Elena?
are. Well, yes, we're so much more powerful than we have been conditioned to believe. And we don't need to know everything that's going on for the moment. The truth always comes out in the right time. So it's fine. We must not be too impatient. What do we need to know? Only what is necessary for us to accomplish our mission. And we don't need to know every gossip that happens in the world, any political plots. Do we really need that? No. What we need is to know who we are, what are our powers, and what is our mission, and what are the tools that we need to accomplish that. That's all. Just stop, switch off the damn TV, and look inside. Who are you? And that's all. That's what I say. Who are you?
Totally. And we're elemental beings, and we're connected to the planetary consciousness in ways that we can't even fathom. The only thing holding us to the matrix is our belief systems, our thought forms, our forgetfulness about all of that. And yeah, if people could just shut all that down and just be in nature. Don't be afraid of the powerful and intense emotions that might come up: anger, sadness, grief. It's very temporary. You know, I mean, that's just part of the maintenance of our energetic bodies, is to, you know, have to release what might have accumulated. So it's and then once you release it, you can start to reset and kind of get in a more balanced lifestyle, so that doesn't happen again. But yeah, unconsciousness is like, to me, it's almost like the trance that people are in is a way for them to avoid the trauma of what people have been sharing about who these dark players really are. It's like they're getting more and more disassociated and more like in agreement to shutting off and shutting down, because it's almost too much to process. I mean, we've been in this kind of field for a long time, and I have to say, I'll never get used to it. My emotions come up all the time, as far as, you know, just feeling, you know, somewhat heartbroken for, but anyway, oh man. So anything you guys want to share? You just remind us of your events. Anything for you coming up, Elena, you want to share? And of course, I'll have all your information in the description.
Well, if I want to share something, it's my book where I tell my story of abduction and rescue, and illustrated by myself with all the drawings of what happened to me. And then there's a repertoire of all the alien races have been shown, and what are they doing on Earth, and etc. And plenty of information that I've been given, and maps and everything. So it's on Amazon, and it has already helped so many people. Yes, I have a YouTube channel, Elena Danon, my name, and I do channelings on there, and plenty of video. Just check it out, you'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. It's just so incredible that, you know, just introducing you both. And so what about you, Jen? You've got your event coming up, and tell us about your book and where we can purchase that.
Okay, so my book will be published on the 14th of February, and it will be via Amazon, and it's called Twin Flames in the Event. And so yeah, I'm really looking forward to sharing that. There's also going to be a workbook that goes alongside it that's going to sort of, like, you know, deepen your experience of working with these, you know, tools and new paradigms. And also my 2-2 transmission is going to be at 9 p.m. UK time, which is roughly around this time-ish, on Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday the 2nd. So I really want to hit 1,000 people live. So my intention is to break all records with this one, and I think we will with this video. That's brilliant.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Well,
Thank
I
you
hope
so
we
much,
can.
Laura.
Oh yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you.
And I just look forward to just connecting again with you guys real soon. And
Mm-hmm.
I hope people feel very reassured.
Mm.
There's so much love. The planetary body is made of love. Creation is just made of love. And anytime we are injured or anytime we get lost, you know, it's always here with open arms. We can only walk the other way. I mean, it's that's why it's source energy. You know, it'll never ever abandon us. Um, and it's all forgiving and not punishing. You know, there's always going to be corrections. There's always going to be, you know, times we have to step up to the plate, rebalance, and learn and grow. But the true source energy to me is nothing but love, and you guys radiate that goddess source energy in such a profound way. And I just so grateful to be in your company, you guys.
Have you got any exciting events coming up, Laura?
Yes, I'll be updating my website. I have a webinar coming up, and you know, just, you know, interviews, but I mostly don't really post them on my website. And then I'm doing an event with Ognost. He's put out a lot of documentaries, but just check out my website, cosmicguide.org. I'll keep it updated, everybody. But no big announcements just yet. Still trying to get some dates going. So.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, it'd be lovely for us to get together again. I very much look forward to that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, much love, you guys. Thanks,
Much
everybody, for
love.
tuning
Thank
in.
you for everyone for watching. Please share this video, brothers and sisters. We love you.
Love you.
Lots of love.
Bye, guys.
Bye.